welcome to Cooking with Johnny Burnett. Me here back in the kitchen in Bristol to deliver you a superb seafood recipe. Today we are doing Cornish scallops, chorizo, a cauliflower and truffle oil puree, pan roasted corn, Parmesan spinach, and it's going to be topped off with the most superb, succulent Thatchers cider glaze. It is going to be wonderful, and most importantly, you can get the best sustainable seafood straight from Cornwall delivered to your door from myself at the Conscious Fish Company. So subscribe to the channel, find me on Instagram at Chef Johnny Burnett, and let's crack on with this recipe. Let's go. First things first, we're going to get the cauliflower puree ready. What you want to do is have 2 cloves of garlic sliced nice and thinly. Get this sweating down in a pan with a good amount of olive oil so it almost slightly confits. Once the garlic is sweated down for around 3 minutes, now we're going to add half a head of cauliflower. I've chopped all the cauliflower into roughly the same size florets. This helps the process cook at the same time. So once you add the cauliflower into the pan with the garlic, give it a good mix and cook for around 3 minutes on the pan. Once the cauliflower is cooked with the garlic, now we're going to add 275 millilitres of full fat milk and 40 millilitres of double cream. I'm using double cream because it helps to improve the consistency and gives it a lovely rich flavour right at the end. You want your milk for the cauliflower to look like this. It's simmering, it's bubbling away, but it's under control. And I can tell you from experience, if you let it boil too much, my golly, it leaves a hell of a mess. So make sure you keep an eye on it, and you just want it simmering just like this. At any time near the beginning of this recipe, what you want to do is add just the whole corn into a pan of seasoned water on the boil. After 10 minutes of boiling, get the corn straight under a cold tap. We're going to cool this down because we're going to finish it off in the pan with a chorizo so it absorbs all that wonderful flavour. Okay, after 15 minutes, put all your cauliflower and all the juices into either a jug or your blender, and you're going to add 1.5 teaspoons of truffle oil, and after we blend it, we're going to get the right consistency and we'll season at the end. Now make sure you leave the cauliflower puree in a pan on a very, very low heat to keep warm for when you serve. You don't want to burn it, so keep it on the lowest heat possible, just to keep some warmth in the puree. Now we're going to go ahead and make our chorizo, red onion and corn mixture. First thing we need to do is grab 1 clove of garlic and slice it thinly. Half a red onion, again, slice it thinly. We're going to need a finger size of chorizo. We're just going to take it in half and then slice it through so you get a lovely little half circular shapes. And then with the corn, we're just going to chop this down into good bite-sized pieces so they're nice and crunchy. Now get a sauteing pan on the hob, get it nice and hot, add some olive oil, and then we're going to add our onions and garlic with a generous pinch of salt. Sweat down for 5 minutes and then add in your corn and your chorizo. Cook this for a further 5 minutes, get it all nice and mixed together before transferring into a heat-proof dish and popping in the oven at 170 degrees Celsius. Make sure you keep the pan as it's got all those lovely chorizo juices, and we're going to cook the scallops in the same pan. We'll put the chorizo dish in the oven for no longer than 15 minutes. We don't need to cook it anymore. It's just going to infuse all the flavours together, stay nice and hot for when we're ready to serve after we finish the spinach and cook the scallops. Get a pan nice and hot, add a teaspoon of butter and get it foaming. When the butter's foaming, that's when we add in the spinach. We're going to be using 150 grams of spinach.
Depot on the beat.
So we're using my scallops from the Conscious Fish Company. They're Cornish, they're beautiful, and they're nice and plump. We want to make sure we get that pan from the chorizo onto the hob, get it nice and hot before we add these, so you get that initial crisp caramelization on the outer edges of the scallops. Add a tiny bit of olive oil, work it around the pan. Before cooking the scallops, make sure you give a nice season with some salt. Once the pan is hot, add your scallops in very carefully individually. Cook it one side down for 1.5 minutes, then carefully turn with a teaspoon. Once you've turned the scallops, cook them again for another 1.5 minutes, but add a teaspoon of butter and half a lemon juice as soon as you turn them. Give them a good shake about, and then after 1.5 minutes, take them straight off the heat. Now for the fun part, the scallops are cooked. We're going to deglaze that pan with this stunning, beautiful Thatchers Haze to give it a lovely, lovely taste of glaze over the top of the dish. So let's go ahead and do that now. So add a little bit of Thatchers in, just a good little pour. So the first thing you want to do is add the chorizo and the corn in with the spinach. Mix everything around. We're going to add the cauliflower puree first of all. We're going to do a nice swipe, or you can do it however you like it. We get the puree on there first, and then we're going to add the spinach with the chorizo. We're going to pop that in and around the puree, so the puree is still nice and visible. And we're going to make a nice base so we can pop the scallops on top of it and elevate the dish. Add your scallops on top of the spinach, and then cover with that lovely sweet Thatchers Haze glaze. And here you have a stunning restaurant standard starter or main course, which will blow yourself and any of your guests away. And now my favourite part of the day, as everyone knows, is the eating. So we're going to take this step by step. The cauliflower puree is so rich and fluffy. And with the chorizo and that garlickiness of it, that's incredible. And on the scallops, that's amazing. That is incredible. I mean, this whole dish is just, for as pretty as it looks, it's so simple to cook, you know? Make sure you try this one. It's a fabulous seafood dish. The scallops are excellent, the corn is lovely, the spinach, the chorizo, the cauliflower, everything's incredible here. So go and check it out, and remember, get your scallops from the Conscious Fish Company. We deliver straight to your door, all the way from Cornwall, and it's the freshest, most fabulous fish from our Cornish fishermen. Have a lovely week, and see you next week for Cooking with Johnny Burnett. Bye bye.